Howdy folks, it's Stuck on Pandora here with the Ernest SimCity build. This is a team composition build rather than just a single player build, but let's get into it. It's all about having Cleese and a healer on your team, and we'll show you some footage. Let's go through this build though. The first choice is Concussive Charge, and I think it's a must on an offensive or a defensive Ernest. Now the SimCity build is a tank Ernest, but why you want to go with this Concussive Charge on either side of the equation here is because it's going to give you a knockback, and it also gives Ernest some more mobility because you can grenade bounce with it. So here's what it does. You can see Reina's charging in here, throw a grenade down, bounce her out of your way, get out of jail. Now, I hate to do this, but this guy used the grenade well. It's against me, but it shows what you can do with it on an offensive level.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Now we have probably the best slow in the game currently. Right there. Stick your egg in a nice corner. Okay? Especially with the SimCity build, you're going to be building rifts all around the egg, and then Ombre Sunspots or having a Miko heal beam on everybody at once. That's an infinite slow. So long as they're in the zone, they're slowed. And if the damage is there, they're going to get completely wiped out. It's very strong. So this clip is twofold. You're getting to see what it does exactly, what the negative 30% movement speed does. Now I'm in the midst of trying to measure movement speed and just exactly how it works, because keep in mind Marquis gets 100% slow on his time warp thing, and that means they're doing like 1 frame of their animation per second. Very weird, but in a PvP instance you see here, we have Gold's Trap, we have Cleese's Rifts, we have Ombre Sunspots. If they touch the outer corners of that and they get CC'd, they're in big trouble. I think that the devs had this build in mind there with that middle helix choice, grants damage reduction to the area of effect damage. A Blight or a Napalm Nade, pretty much the weakness in the system. That's why a healer is a must in the team comp. I go with Trigger Delay. 2 grenades might sound nice, but if you're not getting that 15% bonus damage, his grenade launcher is not worth near as much, and you're going to be bouncing things around corners and stuff like that. Looking at Ernest is tricky. He takes 3 seconds to empty a mag. He takes 4.16 seconds to reload a mag. He has a bad reload. He has a quick fire rate. So the tricky part to analyze is what is going to help your DPS more here. Bouncing the shots for the extra 15% bonus damage. You're hoping that you're going to more consistently get the 15% damage, or putting 2 extra grenades in your magazine. Here's the skinny. It takes 3 seconds to empty your mag as Ernest, and it's going to take 4.16 seconds to reload that same mag. If you had 2 extra shots in there, you've just given yourself an extra second of firing, but you've also given yourself an extra second and some of reloading. So is that really going to change your DPS potential compared to being able to bounce shots and more consistently land the 15% damage? At level 4, neither choice is especially outstanding. A lot of people like to go with Bonus Boom. I don't think you'll ever have 2 extra charges on the field. And this is probably the thing that works the least well with Ernest currently, is there is a trigger delay, and you have to aim at your explosives. And you'll probably put your explosives around your egg. And we had a situation in the SimCity build where we ran this, and I kept changing the eggs mode rather than actually setting off the explosives. So what you guys are about to see is the maximum possible distance of chain reaction, how far away the nades can be at maximum to trigger one another, and you guys are seeing about 2 hours of testing condensed into moments. Now the second thing to note is with the 2 active the 2 active grenades is, I know that it can be argued on a DPS level that once you get to the cooldown perk, it becomes very viable to have 2 extra grenades on the field. The question is it realistic that you'll ever have your feet set up enough and you'll be turtled enough to actually manage to get those 2 active charges out? I feel like if you're getting direct hits, you're probably very close to the enemy, and if you're close to the enemy, you're going to be wanting to be using your concussive charges. And you can see here the maximum possible distance of the chain reaction. The blast radius is based upon your egg. It is imperative that you go with direct hits, reduce the explosive charge by 2 seconds per hit. Now, that could be teamed up with bonus boom, okay? Because your delay is going to be very, very fast. But the thing is, if you're throwing out mines, you're getting direct hits because they're right in front of your face. And so you actually have the cooldown to actively get mines. You won't ever see 4 on the field. You're probably using them to get out or back them out. So you guys will see here, this thing is a little funny. Not only is it working as described, but you're also getting cooldown based upon the splash damage.
Big room incoming. Big not throw.
Ernest's biggest weakness is his reload speed. So reload to me is the must, especially because it's the team composition build. Here's the thing to think about: if you're a solo player and you're trying to run an offensive Ernest, which is definitely a thing you can do. I hate to mention this in the context of Battleborn, but you could be like a Junkrat. You can run that pure attack speed gear, throw on this attack speed perk, and just let them rip. Your egg is almost going to be in permanent defense mode. You might throw it into attack mode for a moment when you want to burn down a sentry. If you don't have your Cleese and your healer and you can't run the full Sim City, here's a general idea solo and capture of just how this works out. You get your tier 3 buildable up, you've got your defensive egg, that's up to 30% damage reduction, you got some reduction gear, you have a CC effect on your egg, and then you can kind of poke in and out of your hole and just mortar people and help your teammates out.
Selector C lost.
High damage dealers are the ones who benefit the most from extra attack damage because this number is multiplicative, so it's adding from whatever, it's taking from whatever was the last highest number. At level 10, your concussive charge is going to be doing 322 damage, so we'll do 15% of that. It's about 49, you round up. You're up to 371 damage. That is appreciable. Now, speaking of bonus damage, this right here is multiplicative. I've heard the slow argued, and I think there is a good argument for it, but the problem is that his ultimate is extremely powerful. What's up, guys? I got a couple gear sets here for you again, as usual. One longer meltdown or incursion gear loadout and one control loadout. Okay, now if I run Ernest right now in control, reload is a must to me. With Ernest, reload is a must because this reload speed is dismal. He's somebody who can benefit from the multiplicative bonus of attack damage. If you have a low damage Battleborn, say a Caldarius, this is not going to help him that much, but 9% of 200 is appreciable. And damage resistance. I know damage resistance, I know the arguments against it, I know the math behind it, but Ernest is someone who can benefit the most from it because he can stack up to 30% damage resistance, and so you add some gear on top of that and a healer, he's very tough to take down. Now, when we're on the SimCity build, I should have showed this before. This is me casually playing 5 seconds after completing a reload. He actually has a very good fire rate. It's 100 milliseconds. It's around 100 milliseconds, so 3 frames or so to get all of his bullets out. That's pretty darn good. But it's the reload that's going to kill you. But you're going to be able to burn through your shots quick enough that this blue UPR Rifleman's Hailfire trademark mags is going to work well for you. He has a great class item. He does. And this is another reason I think he was a tank. He was designed with being a tank in mind, and that they also maybe saw this idea of a SimCity build. Call it whatever you want. We call it SimCity build in mind because of the lifesteal. Because he needs sustain. And also, it's tanking gear. They gave him tanking gear. I always run this anymore. I love that piece of gear, Generate Harvester. But let's get into what really I run here for the SimCity build, okay? Yeah, run his class item no matter what. That health and that reload are the necessary elements to this. But I will run a shield, some extra shield, and if I'm feeling frisky, I do like to run shield recharge delay items. So I'll get another cooldown item to try to keep the concussive mines out. And I run the shield recharge delay because you're teaming up with a Cleese. So shields, I've argued this, and I'll continue to argue this. I think they're the best way to run a tank because of the recharge factor. So if you are smart about ducking in and out of cover, you can become pretty obnoxious, and shield penetration not necessarily does that much except for on a few select characters. So there you go. Control, damage resistance, attack damage because it's multiplicative, reload speed because I feel it's a must. And if you're doing the SimCity build, then I do tanking gear, shield tanking gear because of Khalees. Here we are at the end of the video, guys. I appreciate you watching. Here's the deal on this. I'm going to include the first time we ran the SimCity Ernest build with the Khalees and the healer, and it was tons of fun, and we could not believe just how successful and impregnable this defense was. It has weaknesses. Like I said, the AoE is a weakness. It's a flaw in the system here. So there was some great discussion in twitch.tv/DuckOnPandora. Come in there and engage in the chat, engage in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think this could be best run with. I heard from Oz Monster some really good ideas for gear, like the Quarter Mastery Bend and the All-for-One Shield Array. I was hearing from Dantana92 that perhaps a AoE and an Oscar mic to backdoor would be the best put in this build. So what are the missing pieces? What could escalate this build just another notch up? So I think Ernest is personally best as a tank. I want to know what you guys think, and we'll see ya.
Our minions have engaged a sentry. Friendly mercenary moving out.